Hello, hello. Welcome to WOTS Weekly Features. Today's guest is Steve McKillop from the Night Knights. We'll be talking about the inspiration and creative process behind this magical reading experience. I'm Yelly, and I'll be your host. WOTS Toronto operates on land that is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Paytune First Nations, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation. This territory is the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and the Confederacy of the Anishinaabe and Allied Nations to care for and share the resources around the Great Lakes in peace. And we encourage you to educate yourself about the land you live on wherever you're tuning in from. So, as I mentioned, our guest today is Steve from the Night Knights. We'll just pull Steve on screen here. Hi, Steve.
Hi.
It's so nice to have you today. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's a great opportunity to let people know about the Night Knights.
Definitely. So to start off, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and about the Night Knights?
Yeah, sure. I live in Cobourg, Ontario. Have a wife and two great kids, two boys. And the Night Knights were, my boys definitely were the inspiration for the Night Knights. It came from when they were small, and so that's great. It's great that they tie into that inspiration. So the Night Knights. I think I've been going for started probably about 2015 with the very first process, the very first steps of the Night Knights. So it's been going on a while, and I think we're now starting to get this, the really good stuff. People are starting to hear about it more, so it's exciting.
It must be so nice to see the Night Knights grow alongside your boys and have that as well, have them as an inspiration.
Well, yeah, they're really aware that they were the inspiration, so I think they like that. They're pretty proud of that. So yeah, I mean, they're not the little kids they were when the inspiration happened. So I actually got two teenagers on my hands now. So
oh my gosh!
But you know what? They really like the Night Knights. They're really proud of me, and they think they're excited about it. Where it can go as well.
Amazing. Could you talk a little bit about what that specific inspiration was? What was the spark for the Night Knights?
Yeah, absolutely. Both my boys, their grandmother is like a lot of grandmothers. She knits dolls, so she knitted them these little teddy bears. I should have had one, but they're just these cute, adorable little bears, and they each had one. And my one son, my youngest, we kind of started playing when we would go tuck him in for bed, and or I'd get him in the morning. I'd say, your little bear he's very aggressive. He's very protective of you. Like I would come in and I'd make a voice like he would say, "Halt, who goes there?" And he just thought that was unbelievable, like that this little bear was protecting him. So at around the same time, I staged a little scene for them to wake up. So it was kind of like their little bears caught an intruder kind of coming into their room, right? And they thought it was the greatest thing ever. Like, it was just something fun I just did. I had never heard of anybody doing anything like that. I just did it for my kids because I wanted to delight them, and it did. So we didn't do a lot of that, but I would stage some things every once in a while, and they just thought their little bears were guarding them at night. So how adorable is that? And then they got a little bit older, and they kind of grew out of that phase. And then I don't know, maybe around 2014, maybe a few years later, 5-6 years later, I just had an idea one day. I said, you know what? It just literally just popped in my head. I said, that was really a lot of fun for me and my kids and us as a family. I said, I think other families would like to have that experience as well. So I said, you know what can I do to create that for other people? And that's where the inspiration came from. So I just I remember I told my wife I had this idea, and it was actually, that's what's so great about my wife. She said, well, what are you going to do about it? Right. So she didn't, didn't say anything. She just kind of challenged me to get started. So I got started on the spot, and that was in 2015. So, and here we are later. So a long process to get to here, but I'm so from the beginning of the idea to how good they turned out, everything is unbelievable. I would have never thought they could have turned out as good as they did. Like the whole thing. I'm so pleased.
Mm-hmm. Well, everything looks just so cute, so adorable. And then also, I didn't realize at first that not only is it a book, but it also is that interactive piece of the little knights, which are also so cute.
I have one here. Did you want me to pull it out and see?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, okay. So this is what I'm saying. So the Night Knights, this is the way they come. They come in their own. This is the way when people get the Night Knights, they get their own little. It's a little drawstring backpack. Because kids, they take their Night Knights with them everywhere. Like I've heard, not only they take them to grandma's house, they take them to their friend's house. But I've had reports from more than one report that the night nights have been going to the first day of school. So that's so little kids. I've heard that from probably, I think, 2 or 3. They said, you know what, their night nights came to school, because then I found some other parents who ordered it. They said, oh, my daughter came home and heard about this little night that their friend had. So that's pretty cute. So yeah, it's a little drawstring backpack. You get it, and then inside are your little nights. So you've got Sir Sleep a Lot. Oh, I hope this light's okay. There's that, Sir Sleep a Lot. And there's Lady Sleep a Lot, and the storybook that goes with it, which is the Night Night Storybook. So there you go.
Wow,
and then
how cute.
The book just explains the process, you know what I mean? It kind of tells why the night nights came to live at your house, you know? So it's like they don't just drop out of the blue. There's a kind of a, you know, kids are smart. They need that setup, right? So it explains why the night nights have come to your house. And here, I'll show you a couple of pictures because I'm really proud of them. So first of all, they say hello. They introduce themselves, which is very nice. They're very polite. They talk about how their king and queen heard some kids got a little lonely and afraid in their rooms at night, you know, and they didn't like that. So that is why they sent the night nights out from the castle out into the world. And that is why the night nights ended up at your house. So it just tells kids why they're there. Like they didn't just, you know, there has to be a reason. And yeah, and there's a little knighting ceremony. So kids knight their very own knights. Which there's a little rhyme, which again, I think kids are driving their parents crazy because I hear that they're doing the knighting ceremony several times a night. So
I bet.
I'm like, you know what? That's your job as a parent, right? So I love that. Like, and I like that it has a lot of staying power too, because I was a little worried like that they might use the book, kind of do the knighting ceremony and then be done with it, kind of a one and done thing. But no, they're like reading the story every night. They get it all the time. So yeah, it's amazing. So everything comes in that little package. So that's the way the night nights come. So, you know, and again, my sister was the one who suggested, she goes, put it in a bag so for like kids to take. So it's been really a lot of collaboration with a lot of people, which is really fun too. So
amazing. Yes, definitely. So you mentioned that kind of the idea of these stuffies came first, and then the story is kind of a companion to it. Could you tell us about that creative process of building this experience?
Sure. It was tough. Like, I know when I first started, like you know, I'm not a children's author, you know, I've never written a book, you know, I think I've had, you know, maybe thoughts of writing a novel someday, like a lot of people, but a children's book. So I didn't know really where to start, but I knew that I could do it. So I started my own publishing company. So then I published the book myself.
Wow.
But part of it was that I know, like a lot of people, you're like, oh, kids' books, they have to rhyme. So, you know, like you're in rhyming, it sounds easy, but it is very hard to rhyme, like, especially over like, you know, 25 pages or so. So I had a rhyming version forever. Like I was stuck on that one for probably like a year or so. And then finally I just went, why am I rhyming? So I stopped that. And then initially, even the name, I didn't even have the name. I knew I wanted something kind of cute, something protective, and then just kind of spitballing with my wife, and I think, you know, nights. And then I went the night nights. So I was like, bang, that's a great name. And I trademarked the name. I went because I thought I'm not going to kind of invest my time and money into something and have somebody have the name. So I trademarked it, and then just kind of went from there. And then the story kind of morphed a lot. I kind of got, so then once I had the name and the idea, then I got more onto the night side of it. And so that was one whole thing, was writing a story. And then obviously there's a whole other side that you have to design dolls too, right? So I never designed dolls either, right? So writing the book was fun, and I was able to put that together, and like I said, started the publishing company to get that done, which for me is enough even on its own. But then, like I said, the doll side. So I mean, I'm not a drawer or an illustrator, but these are like my first drawings. I kind of just,
oh my gosh,
yeah, there's the visor and there's that, and I just kind of, I was in touch with the manufacturer, and we went back and forth. Like I honestly have probably 2,000 emails back and forth with the manufacturer. So there's that, and there's my little crest. So these are my little original drawings, right? So I still have all those, and yeah, I just kept working at it until I got it the way I wanted. Like, you know, like I didn't really know what I wanted, but I knew it when I got it. And when I got to the end result of the nights, you know, their little visors go down too, right? So
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
because that
love
was
it.
important to me. Like, because somebody said, if their visors are fixed in place, they don't seem like a real knight. So I said, you know what, their
Mhm.
visors got to go down. So I had to design them like that, and the tassels and everything like that. But it just turned out so great. Like the book is I didn't think I could get a book made that well. Like it looks like it fit on the shelf at Indigo or Chapters, and
Absolutely.
yeah, oh yeah, so it's amazing. So that was kind of the process, and then just putting it all together. So that's why it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, and but once you start something, you just got to finish it. So it turned out so good.
I feel
Yeah.
like one of the number one pieces of writing advice I hear is that you just have to do it. Like you just have to start writing. And I feel like that's what you've done. You just went out and did all of these things. And it feels like I can see the love and the community that went into it.
Yeah, a lot did. I mean, like the very first version of the story I wrote, it was because my kids were the inspiration. I had a story. My boys' names are Finn and Quinn, so I had Finn and Quinn. It was all around them, and they were in a scary castle, and they were doing stuff, and it was so convoluted and confusing. So I finally just said I had to just kind of clear that off, and then I wanted a story again. I wanted, I mean, I love my boys, and it's great to have a
Mm.
story about them, but I also wanted something that any child anywhere could pick up and just kind of, it could be for them. So to have something that isn't so personal to my kids, I thought it was kind of important too, because it just fits. Like the story really fits. Any child can just pick it up and they can relate to it because it's not specific to anybody else. So I think that was important too. So the other thing too is that I'm really proud of is that there's nothing scary in the Night Knights. I
Oh,
think
sweet.
I think kids, you know what, their imagination, they do that job perfectly fine all on their own. I do not need to scare children. So there is nothing scary in this book at all. Like some people would have taken the idea of the Night Knights and said, well, you need the Night Knights because there's a boogeyman under your bed or this or that.
Mm.
I think that's mean, and I just didn't want to do that. So I'll show you actually one of my favorite pictures in the book. I hope I'm not giving too much away, but it's, for me, it's the picture that really sums up. It's this one here. See they were looking, and the Night Knights are cat sleeping there. The idea is that if there's a noise in your room, it's just the cat, it's the wind,
Oh.
it's something else.
Mhm.
There's nothing to be afraid of in your room. And I thought that was important, and I'm really proud of that fact, because I get a lot of parents whose kids have, they have a hard time sleeping. I didn't do the Night Knights as a sleep aid. That wasn't my intention. But is
Mhm.
it helping a lot of kids sleep? Absolutely. I get lots of reports of kids who did not sleep in their beds, and once the Night Knights come to their house, they have a little bit more reassurance, a little more confidence, and so they sleep in their bed, which is just amazing. That's so satisfying that they do that. So
Definitely. As
yeah.
somebody who used a nightlight for a long, long time,
Yeah.
I can, that's so special, that
Yeah.
experience that you've made.
Yeah, I was terrified of the dark too as a kid.
Yeah.
I'd cover my head when I went to bed, and I'd wake up with the covers off, and I didn't know how I survived with the covers off my head.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's a real common thing. So, but like I said, I did it just for my boys, because there is that kind of interactive side to kind of, kids can kind of wake up and they find out what their Night Knights have been up to in the night. Like maybe they've had some fun, maybe they captured an intruder, right? So there's that fun, really family side to it. But the fact that it helps kids sleep and reassures them at night, that's just a big cherry on top. Like I just love that. So
For sure.
yeah.
We've kind of talked about it, but what would you say that like spark is behind writing for children specifically? Is there something special about that demographic than it would be to like write for older people?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not an established children's author. I mean, not yet. Although I think I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, I
For
published my own
sure.
book, and I wrote it. So I mean, I'm further along than I think, right? But I think for something like that, it's just, I mean, you could only write a book like that for children. It's just their imagination, right? Like that's what it is. That's where it all takes place, right? So I think when I had the idea, like I said, I think I was comfortable with it. Like I was sensitive to the idea that that kids can be afraid. So I wanted to make sure that that's not going to be something fearful. Yeah, so I was really aware of that. Like that's what separates really with kids from adults, is that kids, the imagination, they believe anything's possible, right? So
Yeah.
only children will believe that two little knights are running around their rooms and guarding them at night, right? So So, I mean, it's not like I was ever going to write a book for like an older segment, but yeah, I don't know. With just kids, it's just fun. Like I don't know, because being a dad, like
Yeah.
you see the imagination they have, and because that's where it came from. Like we would play at night before they went to bed. It was getting out of hand. Like it was like we were like this close to having like stage lighting and this and that, because we would play with our dolls, like, and it was just fun. So yeah, so I think I answered your question. It's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just kids. It's the imagination. It's just it's easier in some ways, but you have to be sensitive to it, I think, right? Because it's like that's the same thing that people can you can plant a fear thought in a child so easily, right? So
Yes.
I definitely didn't want to do that. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And then what are your hopes for the future of the Night Nights?
Sure. I want them to continue. I mean,
Oh.
that's the whole. I think there's something positive, like when something is creative that's positive, I think you want to see it fulfilled, right? So, I mean, I know that it's having a real positive impact on a lot of kids. I get a lot of, emails and just parents saying, and yeah, I just had one just the other day where it's like a parent, they lost their Sir Sleep-A-Lot in Toronto on a day trip. They're like, we need our Sir Sleep-A-Lot because, our son, he loves them and this, and that. So, I mean, I went out of my way to get that to them. But as far as what I want to see in the future, I want more people to learn about them, just because I still think they're kind of a well-kept secret at this point. So I want them out in the world, and I just think they have the potential to be something really big that way. Just, helping kids, imagination, like kids are only young for a certain amount of time, obviously. So something that can the family can get involved, that, kids will look back fondly on that, that when they had their nights. So I think for the first thing I want them to grow the way they are. I think the potential's there. I would love to write another book. I did write another small book, but I haven't really kind of released it yet. So I'm kind of working on that. I think about some accessories, because I think nights, need some fun things to play with.
Totally.
And yeah, my wife, from the very beginning, she's thought the Nights movie, and it has a great ring to it. So,
Yes.
yeah, so who knows what the future could hold, but I definitely want them to continue. Like it's a labor of love. I mean, like most people don't kind of do what I've done, and just because my wife and I, we self-finance the book, we self-finance the dolls. It was not easy. It's still not easy, but it's something that we believe in. So I would feel sad if it just kind of went and just ended where it is. I think it was created because the moment I had the idea, I knew it just had the ability or the potential to be something bigger than myself. So I think it has the potential to kind of go all over the place and, make a lot of kids happy.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to see all of that happen.
Good. Well, that's the plan anyway. So yeah, like I said, hopefully this is the beginning of that.
For sure. If there was one thing or one message or maybe a feeling that you want kids to take away from the Nights, what would that be for you?
Just I think, though, again, don't be afraid of what's in your or sorry, don't be afraid in your room. There's
Yeah.
nothing. My favorite line is, I tell kids, because I've talked to a lot of kids. I've done a lot of vendor events and talked to a lot of probably 20-30,000 people, families.
Mm.
And the one thing I tell kids, and I think I say in the story, is like, your bedroom is the safest place in the world. Like, I think kids should feel safe in their rooms. Like, if you can't feel safe in your bedroom with your moms and dads and family members downstairs or whatever, like, where in the world are you going to feel safe, right? So I think I want kids to just feel safe in their rooms. Know that yeah, you got two little friends that are kind of looking out. If there's any noises, then they'll go investigate. You don't have to worry about a thing. And yeah, like I said, maybe you'll wake up and see the fun that they've had in the night as well. So yeah, I think that's
Sure.
it for kids. Just have fun. That's another thing, is I just say there's no rules. Like, there are no rules with the nights. Like, every family's different. You can do what works for you and your family. So I like that there's no rules.
Awesome. I like that too.
Yeah.
Um, Last question, because I'm
Sure.
very curious. If somebody were to sit down one day and decide, I want to write a children's book, what's like one piece of advice that you would give them?
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of authors too, because they come up and they're like, how did you do this? And I almost throw up I'm like, I don't know how I did it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just something, if you believe in it and you have a vision for it of what it can be, or, of like you have a vision really of what you want to create, then just do it, like just one foot in front of the other. There's so much information, it's just ask. Like, I mean, when I started this, like if I went back to the beginning and how many emails and inquiries I sent out to people, we are probably talking about thousands. And just because I didn't know, I'd never written a book. I never had an editor. I had to hire a little editor to look after it, and a book designer, and you got to get pictures, and you got to make sure the pictures are good, and like there's so much. But you know what, the information's out there. So if you just keep asking questions and questions and questions, and it takes a long time, because like it takes, if you're not a professional or know where to get that information or have that, it takes time to gather, but it is out there. So I just say ask, and and then as you get it, oh, okay, that's what I'm looking for. And then maybe you'll move on to the next thing, but just keep asking questions, right? It's all out there. There's so much information if you take the time to just gather it. So
for sure. Good advice. All right. And how can parents and readers and people in the literary community support you and support your work?
Well, I mean, sharing is a great thing. I'm just kind of getting started. The social media side has been, I don't know. It was, again, it's like everything else. I didn't have a Facebook for a long time, so I'm kind of catching up. So, once you see some Night Nights posts, which they're coming, because I'm putting a push on, like, it's just, I kind of know where my success lies, and it's getting the message out there. So if people want to support the Night Nights, sharing posts, there's going to be reels coming, and TikToks and things like that, and probably some promotional campaigns, but sharing is the best way. Or if you go to the nightnights.com, you can purchase the Night Nights there. They make a great gift funny enough, that one of the best I guess gifts that they make is for baby showers. So many people have bought them for newborns. They're not specifically for newborns, like, but what they've done is they just kind of say they put them away, and parents are so pleased to get them on that day because they don't get anything like that, right? So it's made a really great baby shower gift. But yeah, people just share, and if they have a young person in their life, and if you're looking for a gift, it's just unique. There's nothing really quite like it. Like it's good.
Sure.
You're going to be a hit if you buy it. I know that's. I don't mean to toot my own horn too much, but I think it's a can't miss. So yeah, I think
definitely.
If you got to buy a gift, the Night Nights, they'll fit the bill for sure.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see the Night Nights on my TikTok feed.
They're coming for sure. Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me, Steve. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you very much. Like I said, it's a great opportunity. Like I said, it's a well-kept secret. So I'm happy to kind of start that process of just getting it out there for people to learn about it, because I think something really exciting is going to happen with them.
Definitely. I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, everyone. To find out more about the Night Nights and get your own nighttime protectors, go to thenightnights.com. This has been today's WOTS Weekly Feature. Tune in on Thursday, tomorrow, where we'll be chatting with Claudine Krangle about the house next door. For discounts and deals, check out toronto.thewordonthestreet.ca/weekly-features. And before you head out, we have a little teaser promo from Biblio Video, an online space for all things Canada, youth, books. You don't want to miss it. From all of us at WOTS, happy reading.